class we learned definition in which plants this photorespiration occurs that I have mentioned. Okay, during the photorespiration, ribulose 1,5-biphosphate, usually which is a carbon dioxide acceptor in C3 plants. So usually it is meant for accepting carbon dioxide and resulting in formation of a stable compound. Okay. Now, this enzyme it catalyzes the carboxylation step, you know that. Ribulose biphosphate carboxylase enzyme. Now, this visco, whether it has to bind with the carbon dioxide or it has to bind with oxygen on the site which is meant for attachment of these substrates. That all depends upon the relative concentration of these two gases. When the relative concentration of carbon dioxide is more, then this enzyme can act as mainly RUBP carboxylase enzyme. Ribulose biphosphate carboxylase enzyme. So here it results in formation of 3-phosphoglyceric acid as the first stable compound. So C3 cycle will occur. But when the relative concentration of oxygen is more, carbon dioxide concentration is less. In that case, this enzyme now it acts as RUBP oxygenase enzyme. So here, what it will do is RUBP will fix oxygen rather than fixing carbon dioxide. So this is catalyzed by this enzyme, RUBP oxygenase enzyme, and it results in the formation of 3-PGA, and 2-phosphoglycolic acid. This is 2-carbon compound which is formed, 2-phosphoglycolic acid. So that's why this pathway is known as C2 cycle or C2 pathway. So phosphoglycolic acid is produced, so it is glycolate metabond. Here, there are 3 cell organelles which are involved in photorespiration. You know about the mesophyll cell? Mesophyll cells present in leaves. Okay, these mesophyll cells they contain chloroplast. Okay, so in addition to the chloroplast here, which are the other cell organelles which are involved in photorespiration? We have 3 cell organelles. These are one is chloroplast, second one peroxisome, then the third one mitochondria. These are the 3 cell organelles which take part in photorespiration. See, whenever high light intensity is there, then high temperature is there, more oxygen, especially in case of C3 plants. These conditions favors photorespiration. They favor photorespiration. These conditions, high light intensity emitted from sun, high temperature, and presence of relatively more oxygen concentration can favor photorespiration in C3 plants. Now, if you take the C4 plants avoid photorespiration, we learned. In case of C4 plants, their C3 cycle will be operating in bundle sheath cell which has chloroplast. Bundle sheath chloroplast. Bundle sheath chloroplast are larger in size, granule. Okay. Now, listen carefully. In the bundle sheath cell, there will be decarboxylation reaction. Malic acid is decarboxylated into pyruvic acid. This is internal source of carbon dioxide. Internal source of carbon dioxide. This carbon dioxide is fixed by RUBP by the catalytic activity of Rubisco and take part in what you call the catalysis. So in the bundle sheath cell, concentration of this carbon dioxide will not be usually low. This carbon dioxide is not coming from surrounding environment, surrounding air. This carbon dioxide is coming due to the decarboxylation of the organic acid. Hence, the relative concentration of carbon dioxide in the bundle sheath chloroplast will be usually maintained at a greater amount. Hence, this Rubisco enzyme is capable of fixing only carbon dioxide. It will not fix oxygen in these bundle sheets. And the relative concentration of carbon dioxide is greater, more than the relative concentration of oxygen. Usually, oxygen not so easily diffuse into the bundle sheet cells. I told bundle sheet cell wall, think of easily oxygen cannot diffuse into the chloroplast of the bundle sheet cell. Hence, Rubisco show affinity towards carbon dioxide instead of oxygen. Therefore, there will be no photorespiration in C4 plants. No photorespiration in C4 plant. In the mesophyll cell, carbon dioxide is fixed by phosphoenol pyruvic acid in presence of PEP carboxylase enzyme. PEP carboxylase enzyme has strong affinity towards carbon dioxide even if it is present in low concentration. Hence, in the mesophyll cell, no question of what we call it photorespiration. Right? So these are the three cell organelles which are involved in photorespiration. So in the mesophyll cell, whether it is a spongy parenchyma or it is palisade parenchyma cell, the parenchyma cell will contain chloroplast. They are usually called as parenchyma, basically involved in photosynthesis. The parenchyma are involved, carry out mainly what we call photosynthesis. So, in the case of C4 plants, Rubisco, which is there, the enzyme site to which carbon dioxide has to attach or to bind, relative concentration of carbon dioxide will be there because of decarboxylation of malic acid into pyruvic acid. That's why carbon dioxide concentration will not usually go down. Therefore, Rubisco usually fixes carbon dioxide, do not fix oxygen. Hence, they avoid photorespiration. C4 plants avoid photorespiration. So these are three cell organelles in the mesophyll cell or in the chloroplast cells are interconnected in the functioning or in the operation of this photorespiration. Here you have RUBP, ribulose 1,5 biphosphate. This ribulose 1,5 biphosphate it fixes oxygen, not carbon dioxide. Okay, the enzymatic site to which whether CO2 should bind or oxygen should bind, that is determined by the relative concentration of these two gases. So here, C3 glands perform photorespiration, we know that. That's because relative concentration of oxygen is more than carbon dioxide. That's why RUBP will fix oxygen in presence of, that is, RUBP oxygenate. RUBP oxygenation. As a result, we are going to get 3-phosphoglyceric acid. We get 3-phosphoglyceric acid and 2-phosphoglycolic acid at 2 carbon. Okay, this is 5 carbon compound, you know that. Okay, it is not fixing carbon dioxide, it is fixing oxygen. So 3 and 2, 5 carbon compound. Right? Catalyzed by RUBP oxygen. So instead of acting as a ribulose 1,5 biphosphate carboxylate, now it acts as a ribulose 1,5 biphosphate oxygenate because of relative higher oxygen concentration. Now, this can take part in Calvin cycle. You know about this 3PGA, it takes part in Calvin cycle. See, in this photorespiration, here I told excess of carbon dioxide is liberated here during daytime in presence of sunlight in green cells. During daytime in presence of sunlight, and it do not synthesize ATP. It do not synthesize ATP. Rather, in some step, it make use of ATP. It make use of ATP. It do not synthesize ATP. Usually, when photorespiration, when respiration occurs, a complex molecule is broken and release energy. That is respiration. But it is photorespiration. Respiration can occur in green cells in presence of sunlight with the release of excess of carbon dioxide without synthesizing ATP. And here, sugars will not be produced much. Carbohydrates are not much produced. Okay, intermediate compounds will be oxidized here. Instead of that, because of that, sugars will not be synthesized properly. Hence, it is a wasteful process. There is not much importance for C3. Why it has to perform? What is significance? There is no greater significance. Okay. Now, this 2-phosphoglycolic acid, which is formed in the chloroplast, it undergoes hydrolysis. It undergoes hydrolysis. So 2-phosphoglycolic glycolic acid plus H2O. It undergo hydrolysis in presence of phosphatase enzyme. In presence of phosphatase enzyme, it forms, this phospho group gets separated, it forms glycolic acid plus F3PO4 phosphate that gets separated. So we got two carbon. What is that? Glycolic acid. So this glycolic acid, two carbon compound produced in the chloroplast of that parenchyma cell or mesophyll cell. Okay. So this glycolic acid now specific membrane transport protein. Glycolic acid is transported into where one time oxidation has taken place. This is oxidation. Where it has taken place in the chloroplast. Glycolic acid. Now, second time oxidation. Now, second time oxidation, one time in the chloroplast. Now, second time oxidation. So, this glycolic acid will undergo oxidation. Okay. Glycolic acid will combine with oxygen. It is oxidation step. Okay. It is catalyzed by oxidase enzyme. It's catalyzed by oxidase enzyme. So glycolic acid combined with oxygen. So it is second oxidation step. Okay. So this is photosynthetic carbon oxidation step. PCO, photosynthetic carbon oxidation. Rather than reduction, if it is reduced, carbohydrate is produced. It is oxidized. So what we get here? Glyoxylic acid, two carbon compound. So glycolic acid, when it undergo oxidation in presence of oxidase enzyme, it results in glyoxylic acid and hydrogen peroxide. Hydrogen peroxide. This will be okay. This is glyoxylic acid. So hydrogen peroxide, which is formed in the peroxisome, it can break down. Okay. So H2O to hydrogen peroxide in presence of catalase enzyme, it breaks down into water plus oxygen. Water into oxygen. So what is there now? What is there? Glyoxylic acid. Glyoxylic acid. This glyoxylic acid is aminated. It is aminated. So glyoxylic acid will combine with this glyoxylic acid will combine with glutamic acid. It combines with glutamic acid. Okay. In presence of transaminase enzyme. In presence of transaminase enzyme. So glyoxylic acid plus this glutamic acid. Okay. It results in the formation of amino acid that is glycine. Glycine is formed on amination of glyoxylic acid. Glyoxylic acid on amination, it combines with glutamic acid. It is amino acid, glutamic acid. Okay, it results in the formation of amino acid that is called as glycine. So glycine is formed in peroxisome. Okay. Now, this glycine enters into mitochondria. This is mitochondria, this is peroxisome, and this is chloroplast. Now, after entering So this glycine enters. It is amino acid. After entering into mitochondria, two molecules of glycine, two molecules, two molecules of glycine combine. Okay, so these are two molecules of glycine combined. Okay, so here NAD plus, right? And have alpha ketoglucaric acid. It combined, right? And it produces what it produces? Serine. Remember, two molecules of glycine combines. Their NAD plus is used. Alpha ketoglucaric acid is used. It results in formation of another amino acid. What is that amino acid? Serine. And in this reaction, there is a release of carbon dioxide. This carbon dioxide is released out. It is released out. That's why excess of carbon dioxide is released during this process of photorespiration. Okay. Now, this serine is there, right? So this serine from mitochondria goes to peroxisome. Okay, so serine goes to peroxisome, right? So this serine will be converted into hydroxy pyruvic acid. Serine will be converted into hydroxy pyruvic acid. Okay, hydroxy pyruvic acid to glyceric acid. Later, wherein in peroxisome. Okay, this glyceric acid from peroxisome, where it comes in? Okay, it comes to glyceric acid. This glyceric acid will be phosphorylated. It is phosphorylated. Glyceric acid is phosphorylated. When it is phosphorylated, it results in the formation of 3-PGA. 3-PGA. Okay. So this cycle will continue. So serine, which is produced in the mitochondria, that serine enters the peroxisome. Okay. This serine is going to combine with alpha ketoglucaric acid. Right? So here NAD is used NAD plus, and what it results in the synthesis of NADH. NADH is produced. Okay. So serine combined with alpha ketoglucaric acid, and what it is going to produce? Hydroxy pyruvic acid. Hydroxy pyruvic acid will undergo reduction. Here it will undergo reduction. NADH2 is used, and it will result in NAD plus. You will get glyceric acid. This glyceric acid, which is produced in peroxisome, re-enters. This glyceric acid will undergo phosphorylation with the help of glyceric kinase enzyme. Glyceric kinase enzyme will undergo phosphorylation and result in the formation of what? A 3-carbon compound, that is 3-phosphoglyceric acid. So it can, this is reused, and this cycle can continue, depend upon the concentration of the oxygen. So this is photorespiration, the respiration that occurs in green cells in presence of sunlight with the evolution of excess of carbon dioxide. There is no synthesis of ATP. No synthesis of ATP. Actually, ATP is used, right? So this cycle is not given in NCERT. Explanation, all that, it is extra information for you. It is there in reference. So where it occurred, which is the site of binding, what happens, that much if you remember, it is enough, right? This is extra information, that is photorespiration. So because of this photorespiration, photosynthetic yield, photosynthetic yield will be reduced. It will be reduced in C3 plant. That's why photosynthetic efficiency is low as compared to C4 plants. So two times oxidation occur, one in chloroplast and another one in peroxide. Okay. So this is simple schematic figure of what we call photorespiration, right? So which is common in C3 plants. So this is all about the photorespiration. Now moving on to the next concept. What is the next concept now? That is factors affecting photosynthesis. So we will move on to factors affecting photosynthesis process. Various factors can affect this photosynthesis. Photosynthesis is a physical-chemical process, you know, where the radiant energy is absorbed and is converted into chemical energy. Okay, so photosynthesis particularly the rate means yield, photosynthetic yield, particularly of crop plants. We are mainly concerned with crop plants. Higher the rate of photosynthesis, greater the productivity in plants. Yield will be more. Okay, so in the form of carbohydrates which are produced. So that can be utilized for respiration and for various metabolic activities. So overall, it results in growth and development, promote overall growth and development, promote increase in metabolic activity, so greater yield. So here, various factors are there. These factors mainly we put into two types. One, external factors. The factors which are there in the surrounding of plant, that is external factor. The factors which are there within the plant, internal factors. One is external factor and another one internal factor. So here, which are the external factors here which affect the photosynthesis? Mainly, we have sunlight. Then you have carbon dioxide, temperature, water. These are the four external factors which have been given in book. In addition to that, you have oxygen, minerals, mineral nutrients, nothing but mineral nutrients. These are the external factors. factors which are present in the surrounding of the plant. Now the factors which are present within the plant, inside the plant, they are internal factors. So these are plant factors. So here you have number, size, age, and orientation of leaves. Number, size, age, and orientation of leaves. Then mesophyll cells and chloroplast. Mesophyll cells and chloroplast. Then internal carbon dioxide concentration. Then amount of chlorophyll. Amount of chlorophyll. These are internal factors. Okay. Now, the internal factors or plant factors are determined by internal factors or plant factors are determined by genetic predisposition and growth of the plant. Growth of the internal factors are determined by genetic predisposition, genetic characters. Then the growth of the plants. They determine the internal factors. So these are all various factors that affect the photosynthesis process. Try to remember these factors. Now, this photosynthesis is influenced by these all factors. So particularly when you take these external factors, it can be influenced by sunlight, by temperature, by carbon dioxide, by oxygen, by water, by mineral nutrients, whatever it is. Usually these external factors are available in three coordinal points. They are available in three coordinal points. These external factors can be available in minimum amount to the plant. These are available in minimum amount to the plant. When the external factors are available in minimum amount, rate of photosynthesis will be minimum. Rate of photosynthesis will be minimum. When these are available in optimum, normal required concentration. Minimum means low. How much is required? Normal required concentration. Then the rate of photosynthesis will be optimal. It will be optimal. When the external factors are available in maximum amount, when they are available in maximum amount, rate of photosynthesis is maximum, high, maximum, but up to certain level. Okay, when the availability of these external factors go beyond the limit, photosynthetic process will not increase, but it will decrease. Okay, so rate of photosynthesis will be maximum, and the availability of the external factors are available in maximum. up to certain limit we can call. Up to certain limit. Up to say saturation point. Once the saturation point is reached, beyond that, if you increase any external factor, the process rate will be reduced, not increased. That is. See, these all factors can affect, they can interact. All these factors, they can interact and affect simultaneously. They can interact and affect simultaneously. So when these factors affect the photosynthesis process simultaneously, then we have a law. We have to learn a law. When the external factor affect the process simultaneously, then we have to learn a law that is very important for both theory and need point of view. Law limiting factor. Law of limiting factor. Law of limiting factor. It is based on law of minimum. It is based on law of minimum. This law of minimum was given by another scientist, that is Levick. Levick has given law of minimum. This law of minimum was modified, it was revised, and it was given as law of limiting factor. This law of limiting factor was proposed by F.F. Blackman. F.F. Blackman has given the law of limiting factor. Okay, so it is popularly known as Blackman's law of limiting factor. Blackman's law of limiting factor. Very important. Listen. This is a chemical process. This is regulated or influenced by so many external factors. Okay. See, these factors can affect simultaneously. Earlier it was thought that these factors can affect separately. But later on it was confirmed that these can affect simultaneously. See, I have mentioned the 6 external factors here. Okay. Out of the 6 factors, suppose 5 factors are available in maximum amount. Any one factor is available in minimum amount. Majority of the factors are available maximum to the plant. Only one factor is there which is minimum. What we can expect there, photosynthesis will not increase, but it will decrease. It will decrease because of one factor which is present in minimum amount. This factor acts as limiting factor. The rate of photosynthesis process is influenced by several factors. Out of the 6 factors which I mentioned, 5 factors are available in maximum. Majority of the factors are available in maximum. Only one factor is available in minimum amount, small amount. photosynthesis will not increase, but it will decrease because the factor which is present in small amount or minimum amount determine, decide the rate of this process. That factor which decide the rate, speed of this process is referred as limiting. Okay, so I'll give you definition. One definition as per the reference book. When a process is conditioned as to its rapidity by a number of separate factors. When a process is conditioned as to its rapidity by a number of separate factors, the rate of the process is influenced by the pace of slowest factor. By the pace of the slowest factor. This is one definition. Yes. What is the definition here? When a process is conditioned as to its rapidity, rapidity means rate of the process. The process is photosynthesis, chemical process. It is influenced, it is affected, regulated by separate factors, number of separate factors. Sunlight, temperature, carbon dioxide, water, oxygen, mineral nutrients, etc. Separate factors. Okay. When a process is conditioned as to its rapidity by a number of separate factors, the rate of the process, the rate of the photosynthesis is influenced, affected, determined by the pace of the slowest factor. So the factor which is available in minimum amount, that is going to determine the rate of the process. Okay. So that factor which is available in minimum amount is called as limiting factor. Even though many factors are available in more amount, the factor which is present in small amount or minimum amount that can determine the rate of the process or pace of the process. That is non-limiting factor. So this is the definition from reference book. I will give NCERT definition. Remember, very, very important. One mark, state law of limiting factor. Very, very important. Very, very important. which you feel easy that you can write. This is NCERT. Yes. If a chemical process is affected by more than one factor, chemical process is photosynthesis. It is affected by more than one factor. These are the factors. Okay. Then its rate, photosynthetic rate, will be determined by the factor which is near its minimal value. Minimal value means the one which is present in small amount, small concentration. Okay. So it is this factor which directly affects the process if its quantity is changed. So whichever, suppose if light is optimum, if light is optimum and other factors are whatever available in maximum, the rate of the process will not be maximum. Okay. So this factor is comparatively present in small amount with respect to other factors. So when other factors are available in more amount, one factor which is available in minimum amount, this factor which is present in small amount can determine the rate of the process. Even though plenty of factors are available in more amount, one factor is available in small amount, less amount. This less amount available factor only determine the rate of the process. That is the meaning of this Blackman's law of limiting factor. So very important to try to remember this, right? So whenever all factors are available in minimum amount, rate of photosynthesis will be minimum. When these factors are available to the plant in optimum amount, how much required? Normal rate, normal rate of photosynthesis. Now, maximum. You go on increasing the factors available to the plant up to certain limit, up to certain range, photosynthesis definitely will increase. Beyond the limit, beyond the saturation point, if you increase the any factor, then process will not increase, but it will decrease beyond the saturation point. That to remember, because any factor can become unfavorable if it is exceeding its limited concentration. It can become unfavorable. It can become toxic to the plant if it is available in excess of concentration rather than required concentration. So one by one, first we will discuss external factors. So first, external factors affecting photosynthesis. Sunlight. So sunlight is a very important external factor for photosynthesis because these plants absorb radiant energy. That is the main source of energy. Plants will absorb radiant energy and convert that into chemical energy. So solar energy is the main source of energy. All the producers, plants which are there on the land, even in aquatic habitat, these plants Because of the presence of pigments in them, they are capable of absorbing radiant energy and converting that into chemical energy, and it is stored as food, reserve food material. So that's why this sunlight is very, very important. When we learn the sunlight as an external factor, three properties of sunlight we have. Three properties. What are these three properties? One, light intensity. One is light intensity. Okay. Then light quality. Light quality. Light quality refers to color and wavelength of light. Color and wavelength of light. Then the third one, that is duration of light. Duration of light. So these three properties we have discussed that report. Light intensity, light quality, duration of light. So first we have light intensity. Light intensity in simple terms, whether it is bright sunshine or low sunshine, medium sunshine. See, during morning hours, intensity of light is low. Intensity of light is low during morning hours. Therefore, photosynthesis will be low. Photosynthesis will be low. As we progress towards noon time, 12 to 3, make sun on our head. Right? So, during noon time, intensity is high. So, with the increase in light intensity, photosynthetic rate also increases. Photosynthetic rate increases. Okay. The point of light intensity, the point of light intensity at which the exchange of gases between the plant and surrounding environment, okay, that can be equal. That we call it as usually light compensation point. Compensation point. Light compensation point means at certain light intensity, certain point of light intensity at which carbon dioxide yield or photosynthesis will be equal to carbon dioxide released during respiration. That will usually be referred as light compensation point. The point of light intensity at which the exchange of gas between the plant and surrounding environment, okay, can become equal. That intensity light point, that we call it as light compensation point. So from light compensation point, if you increase intensity, okay, photosynthesis rate goes on increasing up to what we say saturation point. Up to saturation point, up to certain limit. Beyond that, beyond saturation point, if intensity is increased, photosynthetic rate will decrease. Yes. At high light intensity, chlorophyll pigments will undergo photooxidation. At high light intensity, chlorophyll pigments will undergo photooxidation. If continued light, bright sunshine falling on the leaves, if that is continued, it can lead to solarization. Destruction of chlorophyll pigment along with photosynthetic cell due to high intensity of light is known as solarization. Destruction of chlorophyll pigment along with photosynthesizing cell, that is mesophyll cell, due to very high light intensity, that is solarization. So at high light intensity there will be photooxidation of the pigments, and even if it is continued it can lead to solarization. At high light intensity, availability of carbon dioxide can get decreased. At high light intensity, availability of carbon dioxide to the plant, to the leaves will be decreased. So if CO2 level is more less, then what happens? Photosynthetic rate will be reduced because CO2 will be reduced into carbohydrate during the art reaction. So this carbon dioxide is one of the important raw material or substrate to be used in art reaction. So at high light intensity, availability of the atmospheric carbon dioxide can get decreased. At high light intensity, this gas kinetic energy can increase. This gas can diffuse. As a result, what happens? Availability of carbon dioxide to the immediate surrounding of the leaves will reduce. That's why photosynthesis decreases. Okay. So with the increase in intensity of light, rate of photosynthesis increases, but up to a limit that usually what we call saturation point. Okay. So from compensation point to saturation point, if you increase light intensity, definitely photosynthesis increases. Beyond the saturation point, if you increase the light intensity, photosynthesis will not increase, but it will decrease because at high light intensity, chlorophyll molecule, the pigment which is there in the chloroplast, can undergo photooxidation. If it is continued, it can lead to solarization, destruction of the chlorophyll molecule along with the photosynthesizing cells due to high light intensity is called as solarization. And at high light intensity, availability of carbon dioxide concentration in the surrounding of the leaves get decreased. So these are the reasons because of which photosynthesis decreases. Okay. Now, depending on the requirement of light intensity by the plants, light intensity always it may not be same. It depends upon the climatic condition, depend upon the what I call area, region, whether it is tropical, subtropical region, temperate region, whether it is morning hour, afternoon hour, evening hour. Okay, then the plant character. If a plant is very tall, it is going to first receive the light. If the plants are herbs, the rays which are filtered through trees and shrubs, then it reach ground surface. If dense forest is there, very less sunlight can reach ground surface because these large, huge trees having large branches, they only will absorb the light. Only less amount of light which pass through these branches of the trees can reach the ground surface where you have small herbaceous plants. So depends on these all different factors, whether light intensity is available at high amount or in small amount. Now, depending on the requirement of the light intensity for performing optimum photosynthesis, for performing optimum photosynthesis, how much light is required? Okay, to have two type of plants. One is sciophytes. Sciophytes, usually shade-loving plants, what we call shade-loving plants. These plants require low intensity of light for their photosynthesis. for their photosynthesis. The plants which require low intensity of light for their which photosynthesis? Optimum photosynthesis. For their optimum photosynthesis, then these are called as heliophytes. Example oxalis. Example is oxalis. So sciophyte, they need what they need 10% of only 10% of full summer light. How much they need? Only 10% of full summer light. In summer season, light abundantly available. Bright sunshine will be there. Okay, morning 5:30 only sunrise will be there. Up to evening 7 o'clock light will be there. Is it or not? So this sciophyte, how much light they need? 10% of the full summer light. Only 10% of the full summer light they need for performing optimum rate of photosynthesis. So they don't need bright sunshine. They need a little bit shade. So that's why they are shade loving plants. Then you have another group of plants called as heliophytes. Heliophytes. The plants which require high intensity of light for their optimum photosynthesis. The plants which require high intensity of light for their optimum photosynthesis. They are called as heliophytes. Means these are sunshine loving. They are sunshine loving. Okay, they are sunshine loving. These heliophytes, they need up to 50 to 70% of full summer light. 50 to 70% of full summer light they need for performing the optimum photosynthesis. Example, plant name Dalbergia. Plant name is Dalbergia. Now, if you take C4 plants, okay, they need full summer light for their optimum photosynthesis. Remember, full summer light they need. Sciophyte they need only 10% of the full summer light. Heliophytes 50 to 70% of the full summer light. Whereas C4 plants, I told C4 plants will be growing in tropical and subtropical regions where temperature is more. They are capable of performing photosynthesis at a higher temperature, right? So they can perform optimum photosynthesis at full summer light or sometimes more than the full summer light. Or it can be more than the greater requirement of the summer light. Okay. So one graph is there. This graph I will take up in the next class. Rate of photosynthesis is influenced by intensity of light. That graph I have to teach. Then we have to learn next property of light, which is that light quality. Right. So we continue with the next class. So in the next class, the chapter will be over.